All right, the time has come. My favorite segment is here. I'm putting Reggie on the hot seat with What Does It Mean, covering all the latest hot topics in Minnesota sports. ESPN released every NBA's team's offseason game plan and noted that signing Karl Towns to a supermax deal and finding depth at small forward and power forward should be the two biggest areas of focus first and foremost for the Wolves. What does it mean when trying to predict the Wolves offseason here? And in your opinion on the moves recommended, any other ideas or suggestions in the process?
Yeah, so first off, I agree, with signing Cat to the Supermax. I mean, it's so funny because I feel like Cat is also one of those polarizing players in Minnesota sports where people either love him or they don't. And like, for all those who don't, tell me who you want better. Like, tell me who you want that will come in and impact the game like he will or better, and who you're going to get for him by trading him away. Like, how these trades work, you never really get like who you should. You never really get the type of return, especially on these NBA trades. Like, it never really works out in that regard. But I do think what needs to be done, and they got Patrick Beverley, and I actually was talking to Myron Metcalf about this yesterday. Like, they can do only so much with Patrick Beverley because at some point, Patrick Beverley is more talk than he is substance. And what he provides to that team is helpful. So let me get that out of there. But what I think needs to happen is they need like a floor general. Mm-hmm. Like, they need to trade for like a veteran guy who is, established, and somebody who can like help lead them out there, help kind of shift some of that dog mindset and that mentality. And like, Patrick Beverley was helpful to that. But then, he's going out there only scoring like 8, 9, 10 points a game sometimes. And so it's just like, it's kind of hard to get behind that when he's not the guy kind of leading the effort. Like, they had a guy like Jimmy Butler who was, ideal for that. But then he just got so toxic because he can't get along with guys, and he was rubbing people the wrong way. You don't need a guy that is going to rub people the wrong way, but you need like a good culture guy. Like Chris Paul came to Phoenix and really just kind of turned that thing for the better. Like, they were already trending in the right direction and seemed to be, kind of getting over the hump after what you saw the Suns do in the bubble. And then they signed Chris Paul, and not only was he like a leader for them and helped challenge them to be great, but he was also going out there putting up 20 and 10. And playing good defense, like leading the effort. They need a guy like that. And I don't know what you do. I don't know if you offload a D-Lo or, I really don't know what you do if you're the Timberwolves, but you got to get a veteran guy like that in the locker room, on the court with them, if you really want to see them kind of take that next step and get over the top.
Yeah, other small moves to just keep in the back of your mind. Nas Reed has a $1.9 million option there. I think that's probably a no-brainer. And then they got four draft picks. Yeah, they got four draft picks too. 19, 40, 48, and 51. I know
out of the lottery.
Yeah. I know you're more of an NBA draft guy than I am, more NFL draft guy. I don't think those second-round picks usually pan out for the most part, but they got some ammo, I guess. I don't know what you do with that. Can you package something? I don't know, but some options and assets there to play with, I think. There.
You'll see them not be in the draft lottery. I think Reggie Shaver brought that up the other day when they did the draft lottery. You saw guys and teams in there like, the Portland Trailblazers. You're like, wow, like you never thought you would see that day with Dame on their team, but they were in the lottery. I think they got number 7. But it's kind of cool to not see the Timberwolves in the draft lottery for once. But now, you talk about building this team, you're going to have to do it from outside of the draft because, at 19, you might get a fine player, but I don't think at 19 you expect to get a guy that's going to come in and start day one.
Next one up, what does it mean? Wild head coach Dean Evason held a lengthy end of the season interview, and during it seemed to downplay Kevin Fiala's season, saying, he had 3 good months for us with the vibe, the writing. Yeah, man. The serious vibe of like the writing's on the wall here for Fiala. Won't be back next season. Remember, the Wild face some serious cap issues anyways. What does it mean for Fiala's future with the team? And after hearing Evason's quotes, if a separation is imminent here, Reggie, could the team try to trade Fiala and maybe net something in return?
He's out. Like, he's going to get traded. I think it's just so funny reading in between the lines between what Evason is saying, what Guerin is saying. They're trying not to, show their hand too much because, then you lose your leverage, but you can't keep Fiala. Like, he's gone, and I think playoff performance aside, I think they ideally would like to keep him because he is a fine player. But when you're faced with the cap issues that you do have, I think it's tough. I think it's really tough to keep a player like that, especially when you kind of look at the performance that he had in the postseason and you're like, well, maybe we can get one of these other guys to really kind of step up and really be, a guy in his place, as a goal scorer. You're going to see Matt Boldy have another year under his belt. He's going to be a little bit more comfortable. Maybe you go more towards a youth movement and just hope that the upside pays off, because the team still has expectations to go to the playoffs and to get out of the first round, but they're going to have to be a little bit more creative to do that next season. They say they want both of the goaltenders back. We'll see if that happens. They got a decision to make about Fiala. I think they're going to trade him within the next few months. It's just tough luck. You try to build around Kirill and see how far that unit can take you, because now you're just kind of up against it and you don't really know what else to do. There is really no other recourse but to trade Fiala to try to get back into the swing of things and really just try to get more balanced under the cap.
Yeah, just so many different variables and wild cards to this. What's going to be a tough, wild offseason after ending on a sour note to the Blues in round 1. Blues, by the way, tied that series up with the Avalanche. Looked on the Avalanche last night, 4-1. That series back tied up 1 apiece. Last one, what does it mean with Reggie? After getting smoked last night in game 2, 127-102, Stephen A. Smith said the Miami Heat are going to lose this one in 5 if Jimmy Butler doesn't get any help, referring to the Boston Celtics' new game plan they implemented last night that worked seemingly to perfection. What does it mean when analyzing the first 2 games of the series and the adjustments made by Boston last night and predicting how the rest of this matchup shakes out here, Reggie? What do you think?
I still think this series is going 7. I think Stephen A. Smith is mad. I think he is a madman
we all know that.
For saying something like that. I think, I don't even know why he says something like that, because he loves South Beach and he wants to stay down there as long as possible. And so the longer this series goes, the longer he has down in South Beach. And so what's funny is, like, these 2 first games have been blowouts on both sides. And you would hope that moving forward, they would just kind of like even out, stabilize a little bit more, where you kind of see these dog fights in games 3, 4, 5, and 6 and 7. And I don't know. I don't take anything from that. The Celtics needed to get back into the series, and they did. Maybe you didn't expect them to blow out the Heat, but man, Spo is a great coach. He's going to make adjustments. That team is not going to play like that again. They hope to be able to get Kyle Lowry back at some point, and he's going to help them as well. Like, I don't think I don't rush to any conclusions after watching that game last night, because it's a seesaw. with these playoffs. Some games are blowouts, and sometimes that's just what happens. But I don't see them getting blown out and just being like, oh my gosh, they're in such trouble. No, like they're gonna respond and come back, and they may even win game 3, and then away we go, going back and forth, just a dogfight. I think we all expected that from this series, and one or two little blowouts is not going to change that.
Well, I don't know what Stephen A is talking about, though. I'm with you, Reggie. I think this one goes 7 for sure.